Hello everyone, Sujal here. In this video, I'm going to share my experience when I went to school and over the years. Well, first of all, I don't even have so much memories from elementary school, but I do have quite a few good memories from that time. And from what I can say that elementary, well, that was actually the time in school I had plenty of friends actually. And what else can I say? Well, except that there was a time when I met my best friend, who is well, we're still best friends, and he's my oldest friend. We have been best friends for 21 years now. I know that's quite a long time, but he is more he is like a brother and also my best friend. Another most funny time that I when I went in elementary school, I was like 7, 8 when I had my first girlfriend. And at that time, I had no idea what romantics, relationship, or even worse. So, no, I have no idea. But I also had, I was actually in two classes by the time. One normal class size, where I think it was maybe 15, 20 students in one class. But at that time, I was very shy in couldn't handle big crowds or even big crowds of people. So I went in a small class since I was diagnosed as autism and Asperger's syndrome at 2H, LH2. So I went in a small special class with three other people. Some of them were becoming my friends, and I haven't seen any of them in quite a long time actually. But there was one particular time when I went there I think it was I think it was actually in the second grade when I was in there. It was actually during spring around just I think it was about a week before Easter. When I came to school, I was the only student in that small class. The other ones they were sick by the common cold. It was just me and the teacher assistant. The main teacher in that classroom, she was actually in on. She was also sick, but not that serious. But she was just had. She was described herself to be sick, but she actually I don't even remember what it was caused. But so being a teacher assistant, we decided to go to her and with her for a few hours, just spend some time to talk to her or something. And that was the only thing I remember from that Easter. But it was quite funny actually. When I came to school, I found out I was the only one who was not sick. I was I was healthy. I was maybe a sniffy nose, but rather from that, nothing serious. When I came to school, the others was actually sick. How hilarious could that even be? I was the only student in the class. I was like, wow, I was spared from a cold, while the other ones had not the same luck as me. And I got candy from my teacher at the time. And it was also in elementary school when I started had my interest in history. Sadly enough, I didn't have any much history studies in school. First was actually in elementary, during the second and third grade, and the next one was actually in, I think it was only in seventh grade, and the next one in the second last year before I took graduation from school. But there was something else that happened in elementary school. which is something that normally shouldn't happen. At the time, I was in the second or third grade. Well, before I go back to that story, I had to go over the third grade once, but that was the lack of grades wasn't that good actually. But I'll go back to a moment. I had when I was in the third grade, something did happen that shouldn't have happened. Because in school, you are supposed to be safe. But at the time, one day, I refused to make any or continue to finish my school subjects. I think it was writing, math, or something. I don't even remember what subject it was, but the teacher. She let the others go home, but she refused to let me go home until I finished it. But I still refused to do it. So she grabbed my right arm and she started to pull it back to her, and I pulled back and forward. We pulled back and forward, and it broke in two places. She literally broke my arm. We went to a small place in here where I live they couldn't even confirm. They confirmed my arm was broken, but and it was so painful. I could even barely move my arm with this pain. Then we went to a neighbor city, which they could there they actually confirmed as well it was broken by doing an X-ray. But they couldn't even put a cast on it. So we had to go for another city, which was even further away, to do it. And on our way back home from that, after it was cast, the teacher had bribed us with McDonald's not to tell the school board, or at least the principal and the police. We did. We actually told the principal that the former principal then and the police. And what happened? Nothing. She kept her work, and we didn't have anything happen afterwards. We told the school board, the principal, the police, but they didn't believe us. So she kept her work until it was actually a few years ago, but this is unrelated accident or event. But she actually what got fired many years later was long after I finished school there. I was like, why would she even get fired after she broke my arm? My arm was the evidence enough for that. And my testimony would be a lot of evidence enough to prove it. And the doctors could prove it from the X-ray, but nothing. Sadly, this teacher, she got fired many years later after she grabbed one of the student's arm and called this girl bad names and, well, from what I can tell that she told her mother about this, and the mother then told the new principal at the time about this, and the teacher got fired, and she didn't have allowed to keep her last payment. That was actually a very good action. So why wouldn't that she got fired earlier? I don't know, and I don't even pay much attention. But that was only one of the bad things happening in the elementary school. But one day when I was in school elementary, I think it was in the third grade, we and other classes I went in, the bigger class, we went to another school to have workshops. We're doing sewing workshops. And the way back there, back to our school, it started to wind, blowing a lot of strong winds. Some of the other students were walking on a small uh, stone bridge or a stone wall, but they couldn't even barely stand on it because of this strong wind. And suddenly, across the street, there was a tree. Accosted by the strong winds, it fell, but luckily not on our side of the street, only on the same side they stand on, but luckily not at us. So that was something I would gladly hope that never happened. But when we came back to school for lunch, we were told by our teachers that the forest around school was off limits during the strong winds. Because of that, could be trees or even branches to fall over us, which I would completely understand to be complete safety. But afterwards, the day after, the county came there, some workers to cut down some trees, other branches, just in safety because most of the trees was almost tipping over, so they decided to cut them off, so prevent any more accidents in the forest. So, and that was only the stories I can remember from elementary. But from the grade, actually, I never went in the fourth grade. Since I have to go over the third grade, I had to skip the fourth grade. So I went the first, second, third, and fifth. So I had to go over the third, so to skip the fourth grade. So when I was in the fifth grade, the sixth grade, I actually had so much fun there. I went in another city because of my diagnosis and I couldn't handle so much bigger crowds. But in that school, I met plenty of good friends. Some of them were my still friends even today. But there it was, when I first had my first crush. It was unbelievable. I have no idea. I heard plenty of stories that people have been experienced their true love, like their heart beating faster, skipping like a lightning strike on their heart or something. I was there, standing in the doorway into classroom, saw her sitting on a bench. For at least a second, it felt the whole world start, and my heart was struck by lightning. And did I pursue any kind of relationship with her? No, I didn't. I was too shy, and at the time I was still quite shy to even talk to her. Well, we started talking, but we were just friends at the time. And how much time did it take for me to even start in pursuing to start a relationship with her? Well, that is not until in the eighth grade, since I was only one grade ahead of her. So it wasn't until the eighth grade. In the eighth grade, I actually had this major crush on her, but she had a boyfriend at the time. But I did actually let her know. And from what I tell, I was hoping for any answer back from her, either personally or in notes, but nothing. It wasn't until a year later was another friend of mine at the time. She actually told me that the girl I liked, she had kept the notes and she still read them from time to time. So I thought she might still have some crush on me, but just too shy to even tell me, like me. So I was waiting for her to tell me in person and something wrong. But then it happened. So the girl who told me, the friend, she later became my girlfriend. I had so many great times in the 7th to 8th to 9th grade. But in 7th grade, I was actually bullied. There was a guy there, probably the same grade as me, but from what I can remember, so basically I only called, his name was, well, I call us users some nicknames, and he took it seriously. And but luckily, he was actually transferred from another school, which we're glad and not much happened in that time in the 7th to 9th grade. And I actually spent even some time with friends talking to some other people there, had no problem with that. But I sometimes prefer to be just for myself, either reading some book or just listening to music. But in the first and the fourth last year in school, afterwards, after 9th grade, I went to 4 years more. But it was in that system we have, you work only to 3 years. But since I went in a special type of classes, I went in 4 years. It was called the 4 years program. In the first year, nothing special, not special, particular happened. I had great time. I had a great history study. I had a lot of great friends there. But most of my friends didn't start after a year after. And it was there I met another ex of mine. She was very friendly. She was actually funny, cute, friendly. I had no problem with her. We spent a lot of time together. We either just talked to each other, and I even played some games with my friends during lunch break, or well, just spend time with my friends. But it happens that sometime I think it was actually in the second year when I was, well, let's say that was when I found the girl I liked, not the same person from the 7th, 8th grade, but this girl who was my ex at the time. We became a couple at that time, and we broke up and back together, back and forwards, probably maybe. And then I say this time, and you might say, wonder how even that happens, how you can stay. And we were together for maybe 15, 20 times back and forward in those 2 years. And she was a little bit a few years older than me. And what else happened that, well, I had actually great time. I had very much great study in school and great friends. And even though we had a lot of different, I actually had two of the best teachers ever in that school. One was a female teacher. She was an excellent teacher. She was just an excellent. And after that, she quit her work there. She was replaced by a male teacher. He was actually quite decent. And every Wednesday when we had there, every term semester, we can choose a different type of, since normally we had all classes like math, science, not science, but math, Swedish writing, or even some other things. That was actually where we had a break. But one day, in particular week, we had one day we can decide what other type of class we could have. Some group went to a farm to take care of the farm animals there. One was having a drama class. Someone had cooking classes, and some others. And I was in the one group that we had a newspaper. And first I was in the farm group, but I didn't like it. Then I replaced that with the newspaper. And that was actually kind of fun. I learned a lot of things by writing, adding since there were the stores, some sort of things. But from that, nothing much happened. I do have a few girlfriends in those years, but sadly, most of them didn't work out so well. Because some of them lived far away from me, the only time we could spend was actually in school. But during the last year of school, I was very close to quit just before the graduation. And you may wonder why. Well, I was bullied for the last time. And at first, I just ignored it. There was actually a group of 4 girls. They were probably the same age as me. At first, they started bullying me. I just ignored it. I thought they would just quit after they found out that I was just ignoring them. But did they? No. And what did they call bullying? Well, they actually called me gay. Oh, that was a guy who hated girls. That was the things they called me. But I just ignored it. Until one day I snapped. Because at the time I was in the cooking class with my friends. It's my class at the time. And I walked out in the hallway for some reason. and two other girls was there, and they saw me, and they said the same things over. Something inside me snapped. I walked up to one of them and slapped her right in the face and walked back to class. And did I have felt for that? Well, I felt happy. I felt happy. And I know hitting girls is bad, it's wrong, but you have to consider from that. I was bullied from them for no reason. I had nothing to do with them. I never bullied them, I didn't even talk to them or anything. So why would they bully me for some stupid reason? They target me for no reason. I didn't do anything to them. But after they snapped her and went back to class, they went in the same class and told my teacher, but I was even sorry about it. She owned, she deserved what she'd done. And luckily there wasn't something else. And you may tell me, Swish Davro, that was a very bad thing to do. And I agree with you. But what else should I do? And I have to say, I just snapped. And how much they bullied me for no reason. I mean, I didn't do anything at all to them. And they targeted me as the next victim. Or at least the next target. They bullied me. And I was so close to be quitting off school because of that. But that didn't stop me from that. And after that I slapped one of them in the face. They stopped. And luckily for that, they stopped. And they stayed away from me from cause of this. And they know that I could be very much angry if this happened. Because years ago, I could snap quite easily. I could literally bite someone, and I actually did bite one guy when I was in 10, 11 years old. He ruined my painting, which I do, and I bite his arm so hard it started to bleed. So you have to understand, at the time then, my anger had no boundaries. But now I had more control of my anger. But this was a video about where I was sharing my experience during my school years. And I know that many has probably had something similar, that they have been bullied for either some things for no reason or some of those had a reason for being bullied for. But as we say, this was only from what I experienced during my school years. And I hope that many of you who is still in school, avoid to be bullied at all times. And just to be safe. Protect your friends, but never to use violence as I did. But I used snap. Well everyone, this is Swish Gabriel, over and out.